G'day guys, my name's Dave Tran and welcome to another GuitarZero2Hero song tutorial. And in this lesson, I'll be teaching you how to play Tenerife Sea by Ed Sheeran. This song's absolutely beautiful, sounds amazing on acoustic guitar, and is actually a lot simpler than it sounds. So it's really worth learning. So for the basics, we'll just need to down tune one of our strings. So the G string will go down to an E. So that's the E note that you want to get down to. The string will originally sound like that as a G, but you want to get it down to an E. So after you've down tuned that G string, you're going to take a capo and put it on the 4th fret of the guitar. Now there's 5 chord positions that we're going to have in this song. Now if you want to master your chords back to front, then I suggest you head over to GuitarZero2Hero.com to pick up my free guitar ebook. So due to our weird tuning, our chord shapes aren't going to be exactly the same as they would normally be on a standard tuned guitar. So our first chord, which we'll just call an A, will just be simply our middle finger on the 2nd fret of the 4th string. And we're going to call that the A. We're going to strum from the 5th string onwards. That's our first chord. Our second chord we'll call the E chord, and that will be just adding the index finger onto the 2nd fret of the 5th string and strumming all the strings together. The chord shape looks like an E minor, but we're going to call it an E because of the detuned G string. Our third shape that we're going to call the F sharp minor will simply be a power chord on the 2nd fret relative to the capo. So we have index finger on 2nd of the 6th string, ring and pinky on the 4th fret of the 5th and 4th strings. And we're going to strum all the strings there. And that's our F sharp minor bar chord. Our 4th chord is just a basic power chord on the 4th fret of the 5th string. So index on the 4th fret relative to the capo on the 5th string. And our ring finger goes on the 6th fret of the 4th string. We're not going to hit the top string there. So we're going to call that C sharp minor. And our 5th chord that we're just going to call a B chord is going to be the same shape, just 2 frets down, like that. And the whole song is based off those 5 chord shapes. I'm going to teach you now the generic picking pattern that's used basically throughout the whole song. So let's use our E chord as an example here. Just some finger picking basics. The thumb's going to take care of the 6th, 5th and 4th string, and your index, middle and ring finger are going to take care of the 3rd, 2nd and 1st strings, and they shouldn't move anywhere else. So for the generic picking pattern, you're going to start with the bass note of whatever chord you're playing. For the E chord, for example, it's going to be the 6th string, and then we're going to hit the 4th string, 3rd string, back to the 4th string, and finally the 2nd string. And the generic picking pattern will sound like this. And a bit slower. Now there are some minor variations, but we'll get to them later. So for the intro, we'll start with our E chord, and we'll play that picking pattern once. And then we'll play our F sharp minor chord like this for one picking pattern. And then we get to our A chord like this. And this is where we have our variation. So you're going to hit the bass note of the A chord. You're going to go 4th string, 3rd string, 4th string, 3rd string. And then you're going to pluck the 2nd string and quickly hammer on and pull off onto the 2nd fret of that string. Like that, with your ring finger here. That hammer on pull off is going to be super quick, like that. After the hammer on pull off, you quickly go back to the 4th string, 3rd string, 4th string, and then finally end on the 2nd string. So altogether we have this for the A chord. So bass note, 4th, 3rd, 4th, 3rd, hammer on pull off, 4th, 3rd, 4th, 2nd, like that. So the first line will sound like this. You play that 3 times in the intro, and then you go to the C sharp minor chord that we have. We play that for one picking pattern. Then we go down to the B, and we play that for one picking pattern. And then we end on the A, and we play that for 4 picking patterns. Now if that variation in the first line on that A chord is too hard for you, you can just play the generic picking pattern twice, which will sound like this. So the intro at 75 and 100% speed will sound like this. Moving on to the verse, and it's very similar to the intro we just had with a minor variation. So we have the E chord for one picking pattern, the F sharp minor chord for one picking pattern, and then when we get to the A, we're going to change this up a little bit. The first bit's going to be the same, so we hit the bass note, 4th string, 3rd string, 4th string, 3rd string. Now our hammer-on pull-off is going to be a bit longer. It's going to drag out a bit longer like that, and then instead of going to the 4th string, we're going to go straight to the 3rd string, then 4th string, and then 2nd string. So the first line will sound like this. Like that. We play that 3 times, and we go to the C sharp minor for one picking pattern, the B for one picking pattern, and the A for 2 picking patterns. Again, if that hammer-on pull-off is too hard in that first line, then you can just play the A for 2 picking patterns. In fact, where Ed Sheeran places these hammer-on pull-offs in the A chord is quite subjective. Sometimes he does it, sometimes he doesn't. So for the purpose of this lesson, we're just going to assume that he does for all the verses, even though he likes to mix it up here and there. So at 75 and 100% speed, the verse will sound like this. Moving on to the pre-chorus, and we start with the A chord. We're going to pluck that for 2 picking patterns. And then we're going to play the E chord for 1 picking pattern, and the B chord for 1 picking pattern. We play that line twice, and then for the next line we have the A chord for 2 picking patterns, the E chord for 2 picking patterns, and then our last line is going to be the B chord for 4 picking patterns. So at 75 and 100% speed, the pre-chorus will sound like this. Next we get to the chorus, and the chorus is really easy. We've basically already learnt it. It's the E chord for 1 picking pattern, the F sharp minor chord for 1 picking pattern, and finally the A chord for 2 picking patterns. And you just repeat that over and over. So the chorus at 75 and 100% speed will sound like this. Finally, moving on to our bridge, and we have 4 lines that we need to learn. The first one's going to be the C sharp minor for 2 picking patterns. Then we go to our A for 2 picking patterns. And the second line will be the E for 2 picking patterns. And the B for 2 picking patterns. Now the third line will be exactly the same as the first line. So C sharp minor for 2 picking patterns and the A for 2 picking patterns. And finally the last line will just be B for 4 picking patterns. So at 75 and 100% speed, the bridge will sound like this. Now if you're a beginner and you can't quite pull off the finger picking at all, then you can just do a strummed version if you like. Now the strumming pattern will go like this. Down, down, up, down, up. And one strumming pattern is basically going to be the same as one picking pattern. So anywhere where I've said you got to play that for one picking pattern, you can just replace that with one strumming pattern. So to strum the chorus, for example, we have one strumming pattern on the E, one strumming pattern on the F sharp minor, and one strumming pattern on the A, which will sound like this. Down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. And that's how you can turn this into an easy strummed version if you can't finger pick it properly. So now I'm going to be playing all the sections of the song with a vocal backing track on top for some context. I highly suggest you play this back as many times as you want to practice and see how you go. So be sure to head over to GuitarZero2Hero.com to pick up my free guitar ebook. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson for Tenerife Sea. If you've liked it and you want to see more in the future, then it will help so much if you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave your thoughts, comments and questions below, and I'll see you next time on Guitar Zero to Hero. Cheers.